New footage has emerged showing Ukrainian drones targeting a Russian fuel train in the Tokmak area of Zaporizhia. The videos, shared by the Ronin unit of the 65th Mechanized Brigade, show FPV drones flying alongside the train. A few hours prior to the release, additional recordings had already confirmed that the train had been successfully destroyed. In the initial strike, the train's locomotive was targeted, followed by successive explosions as the drones detonated each fuel wagon. Commenting on the attack, Andriyshchenko stated, "The train derailed and is now being destroyed by Ukrainian drones controlling the area. Defense forces in Zaporizhia have once again dealt a heavy blow to Russian logistics." The strike occurred less than 30 kilometers from the front line, well within the operational range of modern attack drones. Photos and video footage confirm that the train was completely destroyed, with the fuel wagons causing a massive fire along the tracks. Russian losses in the attack remain unknown. This single-track railway serves as a critical link between Russia and occupied Crimea. The route will remain unusable until the wreckage is cleared. While repairs are expected to take at least one day, some sources indicate that full restoration could require several days. Ukraine's 14th National Guard Brigade identified a Russian BM-21 Grad multiple rocket launcher system on the Pokrovsk front. After monitoring the target for a period, drone operators launched an attack. As the Russian Grad system prepared for firing from a stationary position, Ukrainian forces struck. The attack achieved a direct hit, resulting in a massive explosion that completely destroyed the system. In one of the most critical sectors of the front, near Toretsk, Russian forces attempted to establish a new defensive line in Katerinivka. Their goal was to gain control of the area and halt the advance of Ukrainian troops. However, Azov fighters operating on the ground prevented this effort. Thanks to reconnaissance drones, Ukrainian forces detected Russian movements in advance and quickly launched a counterattack plan. Coordinates were relayed to artillery units, and shortly thereafter, heavy artillery fire began. Explosions forced Russian infantry to dismount from their armored vehicles. While leaving their vehicles and dispersing across the area was intended to strengthen their control, Ukrainian forces were fully prepared for this scenario. Following the artillery barrage, FPV attack drones were deployed. Experienced Azov operators carefully guided the drones to first target the enemy's armored vehicles. Within minutes, a series of strikes set the incoming armored units ablaze. Without their vehicles, Russian troops lost maneuverability and became vulnerable in open terrain. Ukrainian forces did not stop there. Drone operators then identified enemy infantry attempting to take positions scattered across the area. High-precision FPV strikes targeted soldiers trying to flee or hide. Confronted with these attacks, the Russian troops were almost completely helpless. In a short time, the defensive line in Katerinivka collapsed entirely, leaving the area under Ukrainian control. A remarkable event recorded on the front highlights that the war is not only fought on the battlefield, but also through symbols and messaging. Footage shows a Russian armored vehicle displaying both Russian and United States flags as it advanced toward Ukrainian positions. This development raised numerous questions, particularly following recent diplomatic discussions between the leaders of the two countries. With announcements that the United States would provide additional support to strengthen Ukraine's defense, the appearance of American flags on Russian vehicles is seen not merely as a detail, but as a psychological message. Military analysts note that such symbols may be intended to confuse the enemy, influence public perception, or serve propaganda purposes. Russia's move is interpreted as a form of psychological warfare designed to create the false impression that America is on our side, or to undermine trust within Ukrainian society. On the Pokrovsk front, a Russian infantry vehicle narrowly avoided being hit by a Ukrainian FPV attack drone. However, believing the danger had passed, Russian soldiers failed to notice an anti-tank mine hidden further ahead. A short time later, a massive explosion completely destroyed the vehicle. The Ukrainian Border Guard Brigade, during reconnaissance operations along the Belgorod-Kharkiv frontier, uncovered concealed Russian infantry positions. This area has seen heavy military activity for weeks, and although Russian forces attempted to slow Ukraine's advance by establishing defensive lines, modern surveillance drones and advanced reconnaissance systems enabled Ukrainian troops to detect these preparations early on. Once the coordinates were confirmed, Ukrainian command acted swiftly. Orders were given to frontline units to strike the identified positions with artillery fire. Soon, howitzers and multiple launch rocket systems were deployed and opened a heavy barrage. The concentrated shelling struck Russian positions with high accuracy. Explosions shattered trenches, silenced heavy weapon emplacements, and inflicted severe losses on Russian soldiers in the area. Survivors were forced to retreat, collapsing the defensive line Russia had hoped to establish along the border, while Ukrainian forces further solidified their control of the region. On the Zaporizhzhia front, operators of Ukraine's special unit Sons of Kors identified a strategically critical target, the Russian Barnal-T radar system. This system forms a vital component of Russia's electronic warfare and air defense network, playing a key role in detecting aerial threats and providing tactical advantages to ground forces. Its estimated cost ranges between $3 to $6 million, making its destruction not only a major military setback, but also a heavy economic blow for Russia. Coordinates were relayed to Ukrainian command without delay, and an immediate strike was ordered. FPV attack drones were dispatched to the site. These drones, increasingly common on the battlefield, are valued for their low cost and high precision. Operators skillfully guided their FPVs toward the radar. Moving at high speed, the drones closed in and dived directly into the system. Within minutes, the Barnal-T was engulfed in flames. Its electronic components were completely destroyed, while nearby support assets also sustained severe damage. Ukrainian reconnaissance units, during intensive surveillance along the Sumy sector, discovered a concealed Russian shelter. This site was used both for housing soldiers and as a logistics point. While the exact number of occupants was unknown, the surrounding activity indicated that the area functioned as an active base. The intelligence was quickly relayed to the command center. Ukrainian command decided to deploy long-range, high-precision HIMARS systems to secure superiority in the area. HIMARS, one of the most critical weapons on the battlefield, posed a significant threat to Russian forces due to its pinpoint strike capability. Coordinates were entered, and the rockets were launched. They sped toward the target, and seconds later, thunderous explosions shook the front. The powerful blasts sent debris flying and enveloped the area in dense smoke and dust. Although the shelter itself was not directly hit, the surrounding Russian units suffered heavy damage. Many soldiers were killed instantly, while others sustained serious injuries. Ukrainian observers reported that the strike caused significant chaos among the Russian forces.